I've got 100 Allori chasing me. Nowhere to go. All by myself. And then, boom! I'm grabbed by the neck. I can't breathe. Sure, just interrupt my story in the rudest, most disgusting way imaginable. That's cool.
I honestly forgot you were telling one. Oh, did I ever tell you guys about the time I almost turned 100 years old? My company was holed up in the trenches at True Haven Pass. I was still assigned to Lights Army then. Medical watch, yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a lie.
Absolutely serious. The Rashanians hit the trench with an aging spell. By morning, we're suddenly too tired to fight. We're too infirm. Our brains are muddled. We've got the cataracts. So, anyway, I see myself in a mirror, right? I look like my father. My father was a very unattractive man, Jack. We call him the Turtle. I am not going to age well.
So tell me, sir, when did you say to yourself, hey, bigotry, it's not really so bad, is it?
I have to make a far call.
Are you referring, Initiate, to why I think the unforeseen are a curse?
Yep.
Telenir was a small city in Kalthus. The priests there believed that the Lightless were given some divine role by the Pentasod, and they didn't allow Magni within their walls. Can you imagine? A city without magic?
I'm not an asshole, so yes.
One day, at some morning prayer, a young girl, in Unforeseen, just exploded with wild magic. She died screaming as spellfire erupted from her body. All of Telenir started burning. And because there were no Magni around, this wild magic went unchecked. The whole city, and everyone in it, were reduced to ashes.
That's all very sad and terrible, sir. But we're not all that little girl. That's not how it happened with me.
It could have. There's no protection against your kind. And when you do happen, more often than not, people around you die.
Okay, enough of that. My father always said the best way to mend bridges between parties that held wildly divergent opinions was to find a commonality in vice. Drink up, nerds.
Another.
How'd a fucking bird get in here?
Oh, good. You see it too?
You still have that thing about birds.
Birds absolutely do not give a shit about the way their heads look when they walk. I would be mortified.
Another.
Damn it.
Another.
Use your lash! Use your lash! I know. Another.
Am I dead?
It's him, isn't it? Sandrak's moving towards the font. Showtime, then. And listen, I may not like what you are, Jack, but I like who you are.
That feels really abstract and not entirely okay, but thanks, I think.
The Immortals are better because of you. And Lucian may end up surviving because an Unforeseen led the charge.
Morning, sir.
Unfortunately.
It was a good night, sir. I won my retirement fund betting on your skill at beer pong.
Wait, you were there? I didn't see you.
You weren't seeing much by that point, sir. Duty calls, though. Come to the docks over in Thaven's Point. We're nearly ready to cast off.
All right. See you soon. Magister?
Friend!
So how often do you try out for selection?
As seldom as I'm able without bending Light's Army regulations. Don't mistake me. I'm a talented Magnus and fierce patriot, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to contribute to the war effort without.
Without actually serving.
Now, I am required to serve during Second Summer, unless I talk to the right people. I can't get around that.
You literally just said you can get around it.
Please don't think less of me, my friend. I would defend Lucium to the last. And when I do walk the path, I give it my all. For about 5 minutes. And then a spike impales me, or a spectral nightblade shoots me through the eye. We can't all be you, Jack.
House Belming. That's a military house, right? Sounds familiar.
More military adjacent. I'm in the Hinters business.
The what now?
The Hinters? Apologies. That's a fancy euphemism for fertility fields. My house holds the contracts to construct and maintain all the Hinters for the northeasterly estates of Lucium. The military is our primary customer, of course.
Okay. Act like I'm from Saren and try one more time.
Hinters are stretches of land constructed beneath ley line crossings. The great families use them to influence their offspring's chances of being born with magic, which in turn guarantees that they remain the great families.
So you're telling me that being born with magic is manufactured?
Of course it is. Well, not always. And there are the unforeseen, such as yourself. There's a chance for everyone.
You must want to be an immortal or you wouldn't keep fake dying. But why do you want to be one?
Tut-tut. Nothing about the dying feels fake. It's a psychological horror show. Feeling the pain of your flesh burning off while also being slightly annoyed with yourself as it happens. Ugh, the dissonance of those moments. It scars the psyche, Jack. I do not recommend.
Which means you have a really good reason for wanting the job.
Of course I do. I want to serve Lucium.
Nope, not that one.
One mustn't equivocate, I see. Fine. I reckon it's expected of me, right? Despite the family business and all its wealth, I'm still a scion of a line of Magni, and share the name of a great house, We're not allowed to avoid the order, or we risk bringing shame to our forebears.
I went to the Underdwell in Calthus. Have you ever run into the Allori where you're from?
I've had to run the beasts off from my hinterfields a few times. They scurry out of their holes some nights to sun themselves beneath the ley line nexuses. A bad analogy, as I say it. They feed on magic, you see.
Oh, I know.
We have had to use our lightless soldiers to chase them away. Our Magni refuse to get near the creatures. Dreadful things. Evil. I take it you met a few?
Yeah, their leader, I think. He was cranky, maybe a little violent, but not evil.
Are you sure he was an Allori? That doesn't sound right at all. Maybe he was full. Either way, you're lucky to have come out of there alive.
When's your next go-around at selection?
Next year, assuming Rashan doesn't... Well, I mustn't be defeatist.
You know you don't have to be an immortal to join the Light's army. I mean, a Magnus of your stature would get fast-tracked to officer.
Enlist? I do more for Lucium keeping its magical bloodlines healthy than I would fumbling about as a soldier, my friend.
What do you think the Immortals are? We're soldiers.
Not all. You have intelligence officers that rarely see the field, and you used to have a wealth of non-combatant roles. The Immortals were a massive organization once upon a time, and its soldiers were but a small part. Your order knew better days before Sandrak's ascent. It's a tragedy to see it so reduced.
All right, Belming. I should go. Orphe?
Candle.
So with your, special sight, do you know who wins the Everwar?
Depending on when we look. Sometimes. Malbiage is winning it now against the Kel. Oh, we're 12,000 years ago, when sigils were worn as crowns.
Not so much then.
Eternal things, like the Everwar or the Aristea. Time runs out of room to record them. Room and desire. When things get too old, time loses interest.
Yeah, I don't... You know, that sounds weird, right? No offense.
Oh, it's very weird. Aggravating, too. We want to know if Rasharn secures a decisive victory as much as you do. Time's just not paying attention to it.
I've been meaning to ask you about your mask.
It has nothing to do with Rasharn's Order of Masks. They are little more than a broken cult, playing with trinkets and damnation.
Oh, whoa, I totally wasn't gonna make that connection.
The Akel settled along the western rain valleys long ago. This was before the Gaterond, the cataclysm that claimed them all, except for me.
Hold up, I think you might have skipped ahead.
Oh, we were talking about our tally mask? It shifts through all the faces of my people, each and every one. You're unable to see it, of course. We were the only Yakala to survive. So we wear the rest of their faces in memory.
Then it's like the wall of names, your mask. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you.
It's only a mask, Candle. We could never get upset. Sadly, we could not. The Thradakul is an Aristean art.
Wait, did you just read my mind?
We can't do that. Such magic was outlawed at Atheron.
Okay, but then how did you...
Oh, of course. You're just catching up to the discussion you started. As we were saying, Nosia's fate was hidden from us, as was Sandrak's breach of the War Chamber. The Thradakul is an Aristean artifact. Those always put tiny perforations in time. Look too close to pasts or futures in their proximity. Pages get torn away.
Huh. Maybe that's how it lay hidden for so long. Seers can't see it clearly.
Nor scrying glass. Sometimes, however, holes in time have movements. Context. Tilt your eyes and predictions can occur. That's how a lot of our counterintelligence is done against enemies using chronoflage. It's unfortunate that no such methods would have worked at Nosia.
Orphe, you're gonna love this one. Turns out Aristea, the Eternal Empire, they only lasted 2 years.
In a particular version of Aveum. That's true.
I so knew you'd say something like that. The truth is really a time-fuckety thing, isn't it?
We're rubbing off on you. The truth is that their empire's communion with the Fonts awakened a kind of inhuman consciousness in and between the magic of Aveum itself. The Fonts had previously operated independently, but now they were sending messages back and forth through the minds of the Aristea. And they were so delighted to know loneliness no longer that they created the Untime.
Untime?
The Pentadi called it the Stillness. Civilizations can flourish in it if they can figure out a way to keep hold of causality in a space that has no meaning of the word. They never do. Aristea has always been forever and yet less than 1,000 days. How's that for time, fuckety, my little candle?
Who's got 2 thumbs, a binding mark, and met an Aristean astral projection? This guy.
Delightful. What were they like?
Well, he talked like... I mean, he kind of like talked like really a little bit fucked up, but like I could totally still understand him, and the other way around.
There were probably semiotocular spores in the air to ease your communications. Like breathing meaning.
That's maybe gross, but also, he was overcompensating or something because he made himself like 40 feet tall.
Perhaps he really was so in life. Judging from their art, they were able to customize their human appearances into extreme forms.
I was really hoping you'd be more impressed. Wait, you first saw me telling you all this already, didn't you?
We have no idea what you're talking about.
Good chat, Orphe. Ambassador Demily.
Hello, Jack.
So what does the Royal Advisor do with the Palathon exactly?
On paper, I'm here to uphold the interests of the royal family and counsel the Grand Magnus on the Immortals' role in the Everwar.
I hear a but in there.
But, since Kirkin has enough authority in Lucium now to ignore me, I just skulk about, raiding the Palathon's wine collection and writing spicy letters of fabricated intrigue to the court back home.
I don't buy it.
You caught me. Since the Grand Magnus refuses to let me in, I must resort to simply spying on all of you. I'll be very discreet.
How widely known is it that Sandrak was an immortal?
Too widely for the Crown's liking. Still, given his record and years of service to Lucium, it's hard to hide it without resorting to somewhat amoral magic.
I spent 5 years in the Lights Army with Kirkin as my mentor, and I had no idea.
Losing him was a blow. He was a hero to Lucium. Rasham's strongest son, fighting against the corruption of his homeland. Many thought he would win us this war.
Until he became the war. So why did he quit and rejoin Rasharn?
Only one person in the Palathon knows that, and I can guarantee you she won't tell.
I hear Kirkin's the only one keeping us from surrendering to Rasharn.
You wound me, Jack. Who do you think convinced the king to speak with her in the first place? After Nocia, confidence in the Palathon's ability to wage this war...
Got shaken a bit?
It cratered.
Ouch.
Kirkin and I have our differences, but we both agree that it's crucial for the king to have faith in a Lucian victory. Ask Kalthis what Sandrak's peace looks like.
How well did you know Kirkin's predecessor, Thaddeus?
Not at all. His tenure was a long time ago. By all accounts, the Palathon and Lavenry enjoyed a less contentious relationship then. Grand Magnus Thaddeus was very popular in the capital.
Really?
His resignation from the Immortals was a bit of a scandal for reasons I'm not privy to. Naming Kirkin as his replacement caused a few raised eyebrows as well, but the royal family traditionally avoids interfering with the hierarchy of your order.
The king. Have you heard anything from him lately?
He's still in hiding. Royal communiques are few and far between. Why do you ask?
It's just, things are escalating.
Everyone feels it. Rasharn too easily presses in across the wound drifts. The forces Sandrak committed to the siege of Lavenry will not withdraw, and the front. If Kirkin has a plan, it would be nice of her to share it with me.
You're here because of the king's absence.
Sup the north.
I have to go, Ambassador. Your lordship.
Jack?
So are you a spy of the king? That's what eyes are, right?
Yes. And I'm one of his personal killers at discretion, which isn't the same as my role as a hexbrand, but the differences are so labyrinthine that I preemptively bored myself trying to explain them. At its simplest, one is killing for the crown's interests, the other for magic's.
Magic has interests?
It has colors, shapes, and expressions. Why not? Magic defines its own tenets, and all of it is a system that the Magni have agreed to work within. Hexbrands make sure derivations of that system are at a minimum.
Sandrak.
Well, it's so easy. He's practically covered in writs. But he's also guarded by the most exceptional hexbrand of them all. The Hand. Getting past her is difficult.
Talk to you later, Hauser.
Does seasickness cancel out hangovers? Or is it more of an additive thing?
Welcome aboard, Immortal. What's our bearing, sir?
Can't give you anything precise, Captain, but north by northeast, 5 knots. If Sandrak changes course, you'll be the first to know. Something wrong?
Just the fact that this mission and the war hinges on something that we don't understand. At all.
We'll catch him, sir.
Jack?
Hey, Dev?
This was built by the Ajman. You sometimes forget that there were great civilizations of such marvelous invention before Aristea. What's up, Jack?
So, you went to university, right? I mean, duh, you were just all, this was built by the Ajman, and I've never even heard of them.
If there's one thing my father expected of me, it was to treat history like a type of scholastic jambalaya, and just continue.
Yeah, okay. So, you know, I've read a lot of books, and I know my numbers and stuff like that. It's just...
I don't think I've ever seen you so insecure, Jack. Is it the upcoming fight?
No. Well, yeah, kind of, maybe. Look, the thing is, Sandrak is super educated. You remember how he called me...
In our every meeting, a yipping pup. I remember.
Exactly.
In our every meeting, a yipping pup!
You didn't need to do it again. But yeah, that's, you know, I want to say something like that to him, right? Like, we're fighting and I'm all, yeah, and you're old. But not like that, obviously.
Oh, I see. An erudite put-down. A deeply cutting tit to his tat.
If that means what I think it does, then very much yes.
Well, let's make one for you. Like you say, Sandrak's very old, and he's...
a stuffed shirt.
Let's work on it. We'll give it right back to him. In our every meeting, so-and-so... Blowhard? Buffoon? Windbag?
Sandrak's totally a windbag.
Completely agree. But something before it. In our every meeting, what? Windbag. Now, the old bit. Geriatric? Obsolescent? Fossil? Oh, no. Fossilized.
Geriatric's kind of mean.
That's the point, no? The world will forgive you. I think we've got it. Let's test it out. I'm Sandrak. Wait, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm Sandrak, and I'm bursting with power, and I have that bored patrician look on my face. And I go something like, fools for certain, there is no mercy, but of my white hot and branding make.
Shut the fuck up, you geriatric windbag! What do you think?
I mean, just telling him to shut the fuck up is pretty good. He'll absolutely hate it.
Huh. Yeah, I guess you would.
And you really sell that part of it.
Yeah, it feels good. Okay, thanks, Dev.
Happy to help. Now, get up to the control room. I'll join you shortly. You shouldn't really dally, Jack. You've got things to do.